achieve an important goal and final result of this stuff. Also certifying the contribution of several people, the engagement of several people. Other output of the work package 4 in terms of publication were the 3 already mentioned documents, and also another book, an open source book named Emergency Battery Technology to Boost the Clean Energy Transition, that is not specifically addressing the hybridization, but the focus is on the sustainability assessment, the 3 different layers for energy storage, but in which the work package 4 partners contributed. Finally, the last task I already told you is addressed to the white paper drafting and delivery process. So we are still working. What is brand new is that there is we found that already yesterday told us that there is no integrative studies assessing the 3 different layers in a holistic approach already published. So this is a brand new. I can skip what mentioned already by Manuel yesterday. So wrapping up, we delivered all the work, all the deliverables. Sorry, all the milestones have been reached. So what beyond? The main goal is to keep alive the sustainability storage ecosystem. This is the main goal, I guess, what we can carry out. We will proceed with the analysis of the recent results coming from TNA and DA. This is very important for us in terms of sustainability assessment to understand what happened. Finally, the integration of the primary data open database with the event database, and also to learn how to proceed and to collect data, further collect data in a usable way. And also a new project to increase the database of primary data education. So this is a lesson learned, and next steps for us as a suggestion. That's it.
Thank you. Any question for Mark?
I have to catch the flight.
That's a very simple question.
Yeah.
The StoRIES book and also the second book and all this information, very valuable. How do we get this information condensed from the books?
To the industry.
Yeah, I mean, relevant people need to.
We missed the industry. The industry must give us the numbers of the process of data for the primary data for the assessment of the sustainability assessment, for instance. We missed it. So the industry must support the sustainability assessment studies, giving us find a way to protect PR, but in the same time to have to go inside the data. Sorry, Olga, if I interrupt you.
Oh, but look, the point is of the commission was sustainable energy member states. And there also, I mean, I had the feeling the information is just missing at the ministries, what they should do, because this was.
I agree with you. We need one or more projects with the industries. I would like to avoid to mention specific experiences, okay, naming projects or companies. But it's clear that the LCA performed, for instance, in the European projects is useless. Also for us, from the scientific point of view, because there is a lack of data. Okay, this is the main point. Last week, I learned that China is developing its own database. Okay, its own database. And this is for the IPR. What is done in China that is biggest in Europe? We can do also here. I guess that we need reliable data from industry in order to give the reliable information. The output of what we mentioned in the white paper is the best we can do right now, right? Because we have no reliable data, no comparable data. So specific action is not enough to oblige the European projects to have the LCA inside. It didn't work till now. So we have to find a way.
Yeah, we have to make more impact. We have to discuss this. How
The industry must be engaged and interested in the final result. If not, if the only interesting KPIs for the industry is the LCOE, LCOS, or the CAPEX or the OPEX, will remain at the same point. This is my personal point of view.
Yeah, my key point is we need to implement new technologies with less environmental.
Okay.
So we need to get this mission transferred to the policymakers and to the industry. Okay, you are an important part of it. Therefore, we have to transfer this information, even if we miss information.
I agree with you.
So that we cannot make a clear statement. This we need to push.
Yeah.
So yes.
I guess that the tentative we are still doing also in the final stage of the project, because our action will continue within the era JP Energy Storage, is to engage who developed the database, okay? Who now the industries, because I need to go. We have another option, okay? It is starting from lab and using the scale-up method, but it's not the same, okay? We will continue to do this, and this is what the ecosystem do this, not only me.
No, I mean, what I mean is, our target is the industries implementing new storage technologies overall. Okay.
Yeah.
And LCA for me, so said like this, is just a tool to kick the industry or the policymakers a little bit that there's more emergence. We need to push this a little bit. So we need LCA measures need to be published more. Have to make some more aware to policy.
And it is not. This is what happened right now. Okay, but if you speak about what, please, Manuel. A little bit confused, but
it's already quite relevant. You have to prove as a cell manufacturer the carbon footprint, the labeling, battery directive. That's carbon footprint. And for that, you need a common approach, which is an SL-based and LCA. Any project that you would like to get, you have to provide that, and it will become more important to consider carbon adjustment mechanisms. Carbon border adjustment mechanism as the TBAM or things like that, and it will become more relevant, and you can give direct feedback to the industry. We see that we are in projects, but the problem is, as Michael pointed out, we're not allowed to publish the results often, because doing an LCA is like making a cookbook for a technology. You have the energy demands, the material demands, to describe the processes. So that's a reason why often you just can provide data that is very aggregated, and that's also a sad truth. You're not allowed to publish it because the results are not in favor of the technologies. They will tell you, okay, you're not allowed to publish it. But then you could do a scenario, like tweak it a little bit, then it looks very fine, then you're allowed to publish it. And that's a big problem. And that has to do with ethics at the end, what you publish then, yeah. It is very important, but it's also very difficult. There are attempts of building up a common database, right? And also for calculating the carbon footprint when it comes to, for example, processes that do not affect your manufacturing. For example, getting the resources from some suppliers, there you can provide data magnitudes. These can be right or wrong. That's hard to think. So there's a lot of movement that they're high relevance to LCA, but certainly IPR and a full accessible database would be very nice. But that's very, very costly, and you have to see how you do it. That's why EcoInvent does it, and you can't just publish EcoInvent data, because then you would violate the license, and not possible anymore. Never possible. Also in the future, probably not.
However, the tool is there. Okay, the data are still missing, but the tool is there. It is possible to provide scenarios with different hybridization, with different impact in terms of environmental social aspects. But we have still work. We reached the final goal was the setup of the tool. Okay, one of the assessment of the work on this due to the efforts expected in the project. So, but this was just the first step. We are ready for the second one.
So
Without that as well.
we don't want to lose you for tonight. There is another
No.
master.
No, it's okay. No, check it out time.
Okay, I'll be quick. So just in a data language, you said you want reliable data. I want to understanding LCA field.
Yes.
What do you refer as quality?
Credible, checkable. Okay. Reliable is this mean, but I don't know if it's also.
Traceability of the origin, is that what
Yes.
is seen as a reliable?
Pardon?
What's a reliable
Traceable.
data in LCA? Is that?
But for me, it's traceable, findable, reachable.
Reliable would be primary data that you can collect. For example, for a manufacturing process where you can measure. Reliable would be data that you can collect by your own primary data. So, for example, we go into some manufacturing process and measure really the electricity demand of a certain machine and the material flow going through it. That is reliable. But the main problem is, as I stated before, when it comes to resources, precursors that are produced by some company in India, China, or outside the EU, it is very difficult to become any valid information. Why? I mean, you get into mining. Mining is not the most
I don't want to know.
field that you know, right? And then you have to refine the material somewhere in China, for example. And you will not get bad data from them. You will get good data. I mean, there's a competition, a high competition. They will not display that. And that's the risk. So we focus on certain processes and we try to estimate as best as possible the variations and uncertainties, but you can at the end not say, is this reliable or not? So we take it from a database, we try to approximate it, we try to validate, but it's hard.
But I can leave manually, so like
Any other question? Otherwise, let's thank Michael.
no, thank you for this. Thank you everybody. Otherwise, very 4 years are very intense, but very fruitful and very happy to participate. Thank you.
Very good. I think it's your time, right?
It's for propaganda. Remain only propaganda. Yes,
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. So my name is Matthew, and I represent communication and dissemination for Work Package 5. And I'm going to be going over all of the work that we've been carrying out during the reporting period for this work package. So as you can see here, the main aim of the communications work package is to increase and enhance the visibility of the project itself, to disseminate all the work, such as its results, all the publications, events, any activities surrounding the work package, and also just to promote in general the project findings of the work package, as well as to kind of provide a kind of like enhancement and acceleration of this knowledge. Here you can see from month 1 to month 48, all of our tasks and our work package activities. And over here, you can see our work package Gantt. So you can see all of our deliverables from month 6 to month 48, which we have submitted. So we are currently in the finalization in month 48 of the final report of the examination results, which is led by IRA, but also being reviewed by Clarence. And we also have the final conference, which is happening of course now. So, yeah. And then also the D5.5, the final report, yeah, for that as well. So here I'm going to go through the first stages of the project. So when we started to build the project visual identity. So some of the dissemination materials that were designed at the beginning of the project was the StoRIES leaflet, which is kind of like a paper knowledge hub of all information about the project to be disseminated in related events. We also have the leaflets here today for you to look at the registration desk. We also have the project poster, which was also meant to be used at sort of similar like wide conferences or exhibitions, and also the TNA poster to advertise the TNA. And we also have, as well, probably I did see the roll-up banner, as well as a webcam cover that was designed at the beginning stage of the project, as well for promotional purposes. And then as well for the project visual identity, we have the StoRIES project website, which was developed again in the reporting period. And here you can see that the project is kind of a sort of a repository of information where you can find all the relevant publications, news, events, access to the education training, as well as general news and articles as well. Here you can see some of our analytics for the Work Package 5 communications website. So here you can see our unique visitors for the last year sort of averaged at 560 visitors. And you can kind of see some sort of peaks during some stages. For example, we received some peaks around April when we were promoting a lot of the beginning stages of promoting the summer school, as well as in January, we were promoting the TNA applications. And as well, you can also see some analytics of countries. So the top country that visited our website was from Italy, and then followed by Germany and Belgium. So you can kind of see the geography of where we were receiving our most website visits. And here you can also see some analytics of our most popular pages. So the training education page, of course, the home page is the first page you receive, which is the dash, but our training education page is our top page throughout the reporting period, receiving 1,841 average visits per year. Also for our project visual identity, we also prepared the project video, which was also at the beginning stages of the project. We used this for, again, for dissemination purposes. And this is when we also prepared when we created the YouTube video. So this is in general a project video about the StoRIES project, and yeah, sort of like an infographic to introduce us to the project. And here you can also see in our communication packet activities, our news articles. So we published a successful amount of 29 articles, which were posted on the StoRIES website since the beginning of the project. This ranged from events, the StoRIES summer school, as well as the StoRIES project meetings, our webinars, recent publications, just in general news about any activity surrounding the project. And throughout the reporting period, we published 7 newsletters, and we currently have 1,122 subscribers, not 122. So it's quite a large KPI mark. We also have 80 followers on X. So this is not so high due to the change of from Twitter to X, and also the disadvantages of not being able to access the X analytics as much anymore. So there's a lot of limited availability for that, as well as just in general, not people engaging enough with the content on X either. And you can see here some of our top tweets. So again, the summer school and the transnational access calls were mainly the most engaging tweets from X. On LinkedIn, we have more of a successful number of followers. So we have almost 2,000 followers on LinkedIn. And here you can see an average of 1,029 1,530 impressions, which is kind of like, it seems like it's quite an average slope. You can see some peaks in some parts of the month. But yeah, this is quite an impressive number of impressions. And here you can also see the LinkedIn analytics. So of course, yes, we have Germany as the top visitor, followed as well by Brussels. Of course, this is quite predictable, seeing as we are the ones that are mainly looking on our page, but yeah. And here you can see some of our examples of our top posts. So yeah, so we use LinkedIn mainly to promote like quite important milestones. So like, for example, the third StoRIES Project Summer School, which we had in Trondheim in June. And this was a top post which engaged with the summer school students as well as the some of the promotion around the TNA when we had an interview with the Proteas Research Institute. And we have StoRIES YouTube as well, which we have 130 subscribers. And yeah, so here you can see that we have 74 published videos on the StoRIES YouTube website, which is quite an impressive number of published videos. You can also see that, and throughout the whole reporting period, we've received 7,678 views in general over the course of the StoRIES project for all of the videos that have been published. And here you can see some of the dissemination of outcome by era. So this is just an overview of some of their analytics. They have 6,702 newsletter subscribers, which is great for the project as they promote a lot of their work on there as well. They have 56 news and events articles mentioned in 28 newsletters, as well as 9 email campaigns on calls, meetings, and workshops. Here you can see some examples of some of the dedicated news articles that ERA have published on their newsletters. And then you can also see that they have also uploaded 28 news articles and events, 11 news articles, and as well as 17 events by StoRIES that was also published on the ERA website. And some more analytics here by ERA. So again, they have 28 tweets/X with an average of 202 impressions, 82 LinkedIn posts with an average of 358 views, 10,563 LinkedIn followers as well. And here you can see some examples of some publications by ERA where they put the StoRIES banner, the example of the TNA emails to the ERA subscribers, as well as examples of the event promotions, as well as the ERA subscribers. And yeah, so now I'm moving on to task 5.2, dissemination of outcomes. So we do have this events list that we regularly update. So every 6 months, Clarence has been updating its events list with relevant events to the StoRIES consortium. If the consortium have attended any of these events, they'll usually email us with content, and we will also disseminate it on social media as well. And yeah, I think, yeah, so that's it for work package 5. So the main conclusion of this work package is to hope that in conclusion, just to hope that the communications of StoRIES also goes beyond the project with all of this dissemination, and also able to sort of keep the kind of legacy of the project to continue to inspire and inform future initiatives. And I think now it's Maria's turn for exploitation.
Thanks, Fatima. So we're still within work package 5, but it's only about exploitation. My name is Maria, and I represent EASE, the European Association for Storage of Energy. So I will start by explaining what we were doing in the context of the StoRIES project. So we were in charge of exploitation, but what does it really mean besides bothering partners in filling some templates? So I think that was really good, like the previous presentations of the work packages, because it's the main thing or the main question that's been resonating through the whole meeting is, okay, how do we create more impact? How do we make these results last beyond the end of the project? And that's what we were trying to do with exploitation. So our main task was to reach out to partners to try to understand how they were planning to exploit their results, like put it out there so many people can use it and maybe potentially create a business case. Is not the case of all the results. We cannot always commercially exploit the result. So this is a misunderstanding that is usually present in all the Horizon Europe projects, that people understand that exploitation is only linked to commercial exploitation, but we can see that we have many different ways of exploiting results, and we have seen it throughout the duration of the project, because you have produced already a lot of scientific papers, you have trained many students, but you also have integrated all this knowledge into different webinars and workshops. So this is what I will be presenting today. So the first activity that we were in charge of was to identify the different key exploitable results within the project. So for this, we took a look at the main tasks within the work packages, and then we came up with these 6 different results that were produced throughout the StoRIES project. And I must say that most of you, maybe not from the beginning, but I can see that most of you, maybe by the middle of the project, already had a really good idea on how you wanted to implement your results and what to do with it. And also thank you all the care leaders, because you provided a lot of useful information so that we can present here today and also in our deliverables. Okay, so I will start with the key exploitable result 1, which is the education ecosystem, and it comprises the summer school and the online learning platform. Then we also have CARE 2, which is related to the accessibility to the different European research infrastructures, and we have CARE 3, that is about the AI material intelligence platform. And we have CARE 4, which is the C and the roadmap, but not only this, that also like the book that was produced from this, that actually was not in the beginning of the project. It was not an idea. It was an idea that was born throughout the project. So this is one example of exploitation that was brought by the care leaders. Then we also have CARE 5, which is about the optimization model to integrate hybrid energy storage. And finally, we have our CARE on the sustainability assessment guideline. Okay, so the first step was to identify the key points within each CARE, just to better assess how we could exploit these CAREs. And for example, the key points that we identified within each CARE, starting with CARE 1, was that 8 editions of the mentoring program for PhD students that already presented, the 3 summer schools, the online platform, and the 19 online training modules. So these are like the key results that were presented, but then how we can exploit these key points. Then for the second CARE was all the access that was provided, the transnational through the transnational access goals, and also the free international researcher exchange program. And then 47 projects were approved to actually advance their research in this research infrastructure. So also, I think Olga was mentioning that already a lot of, like, some papers, I think 4 of them are already available. But I think it's a really good opportunity just for different researchers to be able to have access to these different research infrastructures and actually advance their knowledge, or just to provide new knowledge and just put it out there for to make it available to everyone. And then we also have CARE 3. They in this case, they already have a know-how copyright secured, and some NDA was signed among the interested parties. But then also they're analyzing a model or a business case just to make this information publicly accessible. Then in the case of CARE 4, the main result, I think, is evident, is the open access book, and that this book, it includes 17 use cases. Then also the idea is, let's say, to keep enriching these use cases with a collaboration of industry that we have been mentioning also throughout the different presentations. And one of the key points, it also includes CARE 5, which is the model on hybrid energy storage integration. One of the main advantages of this model is that it's partially open and that it has been demonstrated already in some case studies. And finally, the sustainability assessment guideline that was just recently presented by Marco, it includes the business case methodology and also its open access energy storage technology for primary data inventory that actually I didn't know, but I was very glad to hear that you're trying to introduce it into Kiko inventory, integrated into the inventory. So this demonstrates that you actually know very well how to exploit the results produced by yourselves. So our task in EASE was, besides identifying these key activities, was to propose somehow like some potential road exploitation roadmaps. We cannot ensure that this will be done, but it is our job just to put these ideas out there. And yeah, and I know many of your care leaders are already interested in doing this, and you're already taking a lot of actions in this direction. So for CARE 1, the main road to exploitation is to continue the collaboration with the researchers and universities, but also the industry. And also, we have talked about the RISE energy project. So I believe maybe in the RISE energy project, you can exploit some of these online courses and these online webinars. And I don't know if you will still like implement the summer school. So this is an idea that can still go on. And then you also have the online platform that, as Pinar was saying, you also have it. The courses available through other platforms like EDX and YouTube. So it's actually out there, and people and students can take advantage of it. For CARE 2, our idea is just to keep the engagement between the research infrastructures and the researchers. So we were also like proposing a potential matchmaking services. So both parties can approach each other based on their interests. Maybe this can also continue in the StoRIES version 2 of the project, but also in the RISE energy project about providing access to research infrastructure. As for CARE 3, they're currently analyzing whether to have this platform as an open access or also subscription based. So there's an opportunity for a business case with this CARE. And also, as First was presenting yesterday, the idea is to keep enriching the database so it's more robust. And then the next step would be to analyze the IPR and the licensing terms. And the good news is that the beta platform is already tested by early adopters. And then, as First was mentioning, also keeping the results within the platform for every analysis that is done, not just to enrich the platform, not just to use the platform for data, and that's it. So I think that's there's a good opportunity there. Then for CARE 4, it's pretty evident that the book is open access. It's out there. The idea is that it can reach as many people as possible, but also the care leaders, like, they express interest in developing new use cases in touch with industry, but also integrating this book in educational and professional environments, so more people can be trained based on some use cases of this book. Then for CARE 5, the idea would be to develop a minimum viable product, and this will be done starting with a graphic user interface for energy communities and non-technical users, so they also have the chance to exploit this result. And also, I believe you already exploited this widely through scientific publications. So then for CARE 6, the sustainability assessment guideline is basically integrating this guideline into the academic curriculum and train more people on the sustainability assessment and NSTA and advanced training programs. Then you also have peer-reviewed papers but you can also provide consultation energy storage services based on sustainability assessments. And as I was saying, that I just found out, the integration of the primary data into the eco-impact database. And we have come to these main actions based on the 2 different workshops that we have conducted in the past. So we first have the first version of the exploitation strategy plan deliverable. It was due on 2023, and the main idea here was to identify the carers and to identify who were the care leaders and who actually we needed to contact to collect this information. And after we had done that, then we had this exploitation workshop in Vienna in December, where we tried to characterize the care, so based on the type of need that they were solving, but also on the type of result that it will produce. So it could be technical result, but also I think more focused to social or economic. And then we had the second exploitation that based on the characterization of these cares that we could deep further and just identify different exploitation routes for each care and discuss with each care leaders what they thought about these routes and how they were foreseeing the future use of their results. And finally, we compiled all this information in exploitation roadmap and IPR deliverable 5.7, which is due in October, and it's already done and it's already in the process of being reviewed, and it includes all the exploitation actions and recommendations, including the intellectual property right assessment. And that's it.
Any questions? Any question for Maria? Oh, really? Just to give you an idea, I mean, the first book we published, Open Access in StoRIES, got 175,000 downloads. And they actually stopped counting already a few months ago because it's not growing 6 months. Okay. So this open access is actually, this open access books is not that expensive. It's only 10,000 euro. Okay. And it's like a paper on nature. But you can really get very much public. Okay. But we need to move to the boss, which will give us some update on the project management and coordination, which is over. So,
No, yes, kidding. No, this is the whole team. KIT is not only me. This is a very great effort of coordination, and for this we have a great team behind. And I don't want to get you bored through the management activities. I will give you a very short overview of what has happened in this work package, because we have to go through all work packages. Okay, so of course, the main objective of this work package is to coordinate and to manage all project activities, but most important, to keep track of the project progress. Just to keep an eye, is something delayed? Do we need to take a mitigation measure? Do we need to do something? And for this, we organize a lot of several meetings online, so you will see. But you can see here the main task of this work package was, of course, internal communication, contractual, administrative, and financial management. Second one is the technical coordination and quality assurance. And the third one is research, knowledge, and data management mechanism. So here the Gantt chart, the only point to mention, everything is on track. The only point to mention is at the beginning, we have foreseen a deliverable dealing with management structure and procedures in month 12. Then we realized we need to know much earlier how to deal with this procedure. So we just merged this deliverable into the management project plan that was delivered in month 3. So already from the very beginning, we started drafting the project plan for the management and coordination, and therefore we include this deliverable there. It's a minor deviation, let's say. Okay, task number 1, we have internal communication, contractual. As you know, we have an grant agreement that was signed at the in September 2021. And then we were working with the consortium amendment, consortium agreements already with all the partners, the 17 partners of the project. We were also able to sign some months later. And as you have seen before, we had 4 amendments within this project, which was not foreseen at the beginning, and it's also not normal. Normally you have 1 or 2 amendments max. So, but this was very complicated. We have a lot of changes also with the transnational research infrastructure, the unit cost, access cost. So it was also a lot of effort just to put everything move forward, let's say. The final one is not yet closed, so we are about to close now the project, and the last amendment is still ongoing. Okay, about the financial management, as usual, at the beginning of a project, you have a pre-financial payment. In this case, was almost 50% of the total cost of the budget. Also, the Commission keeps what is called guarantee fund. That means if we don't deliver at the very end, we will not get fully paid, so we will get at the end. And then after each reporting period, we have a payment, what is called first interim payment. That was in January 2024, 16%. And lately, in August this year, we had the second interim payment. And at the very end, after we have delivered all the reports and closed the project, we will have what is called the payment of the balance. And then we can close the project finally. The second task, technical coordination and quality assurance. So I was mentioned, at the beginning, mostly we had to keep track, we had to take decisions and change things. So therefore, we decided to have online meetings every 2 weeks with all the work package leaders, steering committee members, including also the industry members, just to keep the project progress on track. So in total, within the whole project, we have 64 steering committee meetings. Also 40 deliverables, and in order to assure the quality of the deliverables, we also established a review procedure that you can see here. So we have a very extended ecosystem. We decide we want to involve them also in the deliverables. So those public deliverables were sent to the ecosystem 1 week before the submission so that they can also give feedback, that they can contribute and give input if necessary. So we have this review procedure that the first author needs to finalize the deliverable almost 1 month before submission. Then this is going to 2 different reviewers. And after that, to the ecosystem, until the final, to the project coordinator for approval. So this is just to ensure the quality of our deliverables, our reports. And also for the risk identification and mitigation, we have established a procedure, this kind of table, just to monitor all the possible risks that can arise within the project. And this was discussed in every steering committee meeting. It was included in our portfolio of slides, and the work package leader can include any risk, and this was discussed with the steering committee members and try to mitigate all possible delays. And finally, you know, we have 3 reporting periods. After the reporting period, we have 60 days to write all the reports and to send to the Commission. The final one is about to come, so we will start. We have already started, of course. We have to submit it at the end of the year on the 31st of December. After that, by the way, in January, we will have the final review meeting of the project, so with the work package leaders. So please keep in mind that the project will not end in October, so we need to deliver everything and to close everything in a proper way. These are the project meetings. So in total, we had 9. The first one, the kickoff meeting, is not here. That was in Ulm, but it was right after the pandemic, November 2021. And 2 days before the meeting, we have like 75 cancellations. So in the end, we were 10 or 12 people last time at the beginning of the project. And you can see here in Padova, the third one was in Almeria. The fourth one was in Nicosia, back to the summer school. Fifth one was in Vienna, back to the workshop that Marco showed you. Sixth one was in Rome, also alongside the second summer school. Project meeting 7 was in Brussels with the other workshop of BP3, and the project meeting number 8 was in Trondheim back to the third summer school. So we have always tried to use synergies to organize project meeting with other activities, workshops, summer school, just to ensure a lot of several participation of the members. And then finally, task number 6.3 is dealing with the data management plan. You can see here, it is written how to deal with all the data that will arise from this project. And this is also a living document that we need to update regularly. By each reporting period was updated. And then we are about to finalize the last version. And here you can see all the deliverables from this work package. The first one is the project management plan that we wrote at the very beginning of the project. It's a very extensive document explaining all these procedures that we took during the project. The second one I mentioned before is the data management plan, also very important with all the updates. The number 6.3 is the first risk assessment plan, and the only one pending now at the end is the final risk assessment plan that we are also about to finalize now. And this is the short overview of all work package 6 activities, but I think you have also an idea what we have done so far. So if you have any question or any specific comment, just let me know.
Forget that you have a lot of them. You want to say something?
Yes.
There are still a lot of deliverables due.
In this case,
Please don't send all to me on the 30th of October.
we talk about the energy storage. Normally, we think that is quite small factor, car or something like that. But they are the point very important that the most of the energy transported belongs to the companies. It's just the grid. The grid is very, very important because an accident in the grid applies a flag life for all the people in the country. Then in most of the hub countries, in same, etc., they are using just very great accumulators of energy. But the question is the following: these batteries, they produce DC. Is continuous electricity. And then you cannot apply this continuous electricity to the grid. Say AC. This means that each 20 seconds, repeat 20 milliseconds, it changes. Okay. Then there are two parts. One is the battery, has the energy, but you need to put very, very, very well focused what is the way to connect both. We want to introduce energy to the power to the grids, and then you should take a lot of care, because if you introduce a retard of 5 milliseconds just in the zero crossing part of the grid, then you have the problem that if you deviate some milliseconds, then you create a short. This is just then the question is that never we are talking about the electronics. It's a very important part for the storage in electricity, because we should develop, we are people that knows more than us, but we need to fix the scope in this, because we can develop magnificent batteries, etc., but we cannot cover them if we have problems with the electronics. I think there's something that is not well treated. This is more than we are making. This is my feeling. Okay, it's not need to express my feeling. What to do? What to do?
So it's a comment more than a question, right? Yeah. So, well, in the Rise Energy project, we look at the total overall system integration. not only the storage system, but the system integration, also in the grid. So this is all that we address in the next project, for example. I understood you correctly.
This is relevant.
Anyway, high power DC transmission lines are being integrated in many countries.
It's not possible, it costs a lot of money.
But I mean, there is
They are already done.
there is a high
They are already
voltage
doing this.
there is an high voltage line from Norway to Germany.
Also from Tunisia and Sicily.
Yeah,
So national.
I mean, they already established the second one. So, yeah, we are kind of not considering directly the electronics or the let's say, I don't know, power adaptation within the grid, but I've seen a lot of planning actually that especially in Germany, they want to go with 3 or 4 super high power DC energy lines to share the energy all over Germany and then to distribute with the AC.
France, Germany, Spain, Portugal, Morocco.
Yeah.
People, they have ACBT and they have a reason for that. Because the transformers that are going to supply lower voltage to the people, you cannot connect 600 kilovolts. Not the people, because the houses can work in this condition. Then you have the transformer. And then the transformers work in AC current. And you can construct, you have the DC, you can construct high frequency, smaller transformers. But it's changed a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, there's
So you are using a packet here, you have a cable, and also you have something.
but this is, I mean, this is a big issue, but it's been considered already in many other projects. The conversion of electricity from one kind of to another. Okay, if there are no other questions, we move to Ina. Presentation last before the symphony, and now we have the exciting working groups. Don't forget.
Okay, less than 5 minutes of coffee break, and I'm happy to make quickest presentation of today. So you can have more time, hopefully, on coffee break. And so this time we will talk about ethics requirements. And the objective is not written on the banner this time, so I have to mention myself. So this work package basically ensured that all project activities were carried out in EU and also national ethical requirements, standards, regulations. So work package 7 basically provided continuous ethical oversight during the project and also reported to the Commission with actions, procedures, and also compliance. As you see from this figure, work package 7 is kind of external layer. So this means that it supports all work packages and also supports each project activities. So I would say that this work package had 4 main actions. The first one is that ensuring that all project activities were in line with general data protection regulations. And secondly, some documents were prepared, namely privacy policy and consent forms for all the meetings, including also this one. When you were in downstairs in the registration desk, if you agree, you just sign that, yes, I agree that during the event I can be photographed. And I know I'm aware that my data can be part of the registration process. So we had this document for this meeting, but also beyond, such as summer schools, mentoring program, in-person visits, and also workshops. The third one is that ensure that all documents in the projects are in a secured and also organized way via SharePoint access. And finally, reported to the Commission with 2 main deliverables, summarizing all activities. The first one, the first deliverable was submitted on month 6 with the title of Protection of Personal Data. So it is about the protection of participants' rights and freedoms. So with some defined technical and organizational measures, ensuring that there is no unauthorized access to this data, and also further processing of them. And finally, detailed informed consent procedures. The second and last deliverable was submitted on month 18, focused on generic ethics requirements. It was a collective input for all task leaders in the project. So ethical issues were analyzed and actions were making sure that we are completely in line with Horizon 2020 project ethical standards. The structure of the deliverable was like that. The first one is ethics issues and mitigation measures, and final part was just focusing on legal basis for personal data process. That's all from my side from this work package. So if you have any questions, hopefully not.
Any questions anyway? I don't see any. Let's go for coffee break. Thanks a lot for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Just don't forget the working group. Very exciting.
Yeah, we learned from that. Why? The proposal you have to make a kind of self-assessment.
Yeah.
By stories. And then, because you can click like this. We were not aware that it's so important. And now we call this to deliverable. In Rise Energy, we make the self-assessment that you can click which kind of issue. And now we know how.
Well, my answer was.
Yeah.
It was on.
You can take as many as you like. Yeah, I wasn't sure if they dropped someone, you know. You can take them. You can take as many as you like.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you said some people train, but they didn't.
Yeah, contact with them, but they didn't get back to it.
No, I appreciate it. Oh, okay. Oh, there's more downstairs. Yeah. Okay, so I was, yeah, sure, I didn't. Maybe I. Take another one. I know I did a lot, but I don't really. We didn't maybe.
I got a project.
Oh, it took. Because tomorrow is meeting as well. And yeah. No, it's fine. You can do
Sorry, I'm right. This but maybe everything is called.
Okay. Yeah, she told me that. I could give her. Yeah.
The project.
She's online.
It's also
Yeah.
management.
Have you seen that?
Euro quality.
Yeah, I just want to.
New style, Belgium style.
Yeah, I think that
But it's not too bad. No, I think no one is.
No, you can see in
Yeah.
Belgium like that. Yeah, sorry. That's so funny.
no, it's not bad. I'm bored. It's because of this badge here. It looked for me like I notice now that there's something like strict because of the badge. So yeah, we go for coffee.
Yes. Yeah, I. Sure. That is we.
You don't need it, so it's not well. It's simple beer. Someone I think just tried their feet and actually it again through my device. I mean, it's absurd. So sorry to say that, but we're supposed to be responsible people. We- I don't know. Really, I have to charge back everywhere. My main charger is supposed to be some baggage, and I don't know where it is stolen or some careless person. Yes, yes, and so actually, it's, I have to pursue it. So I'm charging, and at the end of the day, it cannot charge because somebody owns it. I mean, it's totally absurd.
I don't charge it.
I would use, yes, thank you. I'll use this one maybe here it would be better. And at least it will charge faster.
Finance not charge it. It's enough.
I need it for a few hours. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Obviously, I charge it basically. Trying to agency.
Hey Erik, hi. Jeg må mal sehen, hvis du er noch enda lever. Ja, ja. Ja. Akkurat i Brüssel, på sånt projekt møte. Ja. Så ja, busy days, no? Ja, nettopp. Men er du tilbake fra Romania nå? Siste uka. Ja, jeg skjønner. Ja, i Berlin. Very good. Very good. Du, nå lurer jeg. Jeg har ikke gjort noen War Roundtable nå. Ja. Altså, ja. Altså, jeg tror nesten, la oss doch gjøre det veldig enkelt. At vi inviterer fra klokken 10 til klokken 12 for en veldig, altså for en information exchange. Altså, jeg hadde snakket med Jan siden toppen, og når jeg har nevnt ja med roadmap, og vi diskuterer det og ditt og datt, og da var han der veldig forsiktig. Han har sagt ja, jeg kan ikke snakke om roadmap, hvor vi først snakker om i ministerier og du skjønner han. Så, altså, jeg tror nesten vi gjør det veldig enkelt, at vi sier det er så 3 hovedpunkt, så mer eller mindre also heading our information exchange til US, Norway, Germany, eller bare Germany. Og den, ja, korrekt, Germany, Norway, korrekt. Og den skriver bare så 2-3 punkter. Initial information exchange, best practice, outlook, ja, Germany. Det er veldig enkelt at vi har de kolleger inn, og at perspectives, research and innovation from a German point of view. Dann kan ja SAS og Spar kan seg komme inn. Vet du at denne agenda blir veldig enkelt og soft. Ja. Ja, nettopp. Og dann ringer jeg nochmal Siedetopp, at kanskje, also Fischer ja også i Berlin, han kommer ja til denne greia, så at han også med på denne roundtable. Kan vi ja nochmal se, hvem kan vi nå invitere. Altså, vet ikke, kanskje din Jonas vil ha lyst til å være med, eller? I don't know. Ja. Altså, det må du vite. Ja, det kunne være fint. Han var jo også på denne norsk-tyske energidialog. Og og derfor har jeg tenkt, Erik, hvis du kunne bare sende en invitasjon, Outlook-invitasjon, i norsk ambassade, og skrive det inn og sier, ja, altså før denne paneldiskusjonen vil vi gjerne så intern informasjonsutveksling, ja. Og dann med denne 3-4 subjects. Og dann har vi minst mal de invitert, vet du. Okay, der kann ja als Senator, als Senator dann zu den Quellen, Senator, als Senator Dimon. Und dann setzt du dir eine Invitation und sendet den. Ja. Und dann der Heading Information Exchange and Best Practice, CCUS, Germany, Norway. Und dann habe ich mindestens mal die invitiert, wie du. Ja, das stimmt ja nicht versendet, wie du. Ja. Und der hat best, dann du sendest dann Invitation von der norschen Ambassade, ne? Dann kann du ja sehen, wem will du da invitieren till. Und dann ringe ich nochmal Siedentop, noch du hast invitiert. Dann ringe ich Siedentop und sage, ja, können wir du haben Fischer. Da wie den Sebastian Fischer von BGR, han har jeg mye know-how, vet du. Han jobber også på jord. Ja, ja, korrekt. Yes. Ja.
Welcome to the Borders with International.
We applied for a lot of many proposals. So far, we don't have that.
That's how you say.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Then it takes about 6 months.
And they say, yeah, you're too Chinese. But you can't know, well, I work. I know, but I'm people that should use that.
The windows are still open.
Yeah.
Let's see if I block the mic. I'm afraid that Bruce is
I don't remember what I put here.
who's working with what?
Me. Yeah.
Okay. Somebody's trying to escape, but I will do that. Don't even think about escaping. Very good. This is really the very last session, the last hour. After that, it's only dinner today. Of course, missed the wine last night. We will not allow you to
I'll
drink the wine
I'll
tonight.
make up for it today.
Very good.
I'll make up for it today.
Sit, please. Now we get started. So, you have Miriam again?
Sorry for,
Third time today?
sorry for that.
Working, oh, why sorry? It's a pleasure. Working group one, please.
Okay. That maybe first of all, a short introduction into the working groups. I showed you today morning we have different working groups, and working group one was in charge of the roadmap and the SRIA, giving input to that. And this is what I would like to talk about now a little bit. So you can see here who were invited to participate in this working group. This was open to all the stakeholders, but most of them were external because I will show you later. This was also very much related to task 3.3, which Jorge showed you today morning about the roadmap. So therefore, we wanted to integrate as many external experts as possible. And also, why? To give it the opportunity to contribute also to all the stakeholders into this work. And for this, we organize different workshops at different stage of the roadmap and the RIA drafting process. And I would like to show you very shortly. I don't want to get worried with that, just for you to have an insight what's happening in this working group. So roadmap on a RIA, you have seen many times, so I will skip this. And also what we try to do is we have different versions of roadmap on RIA in month 20, month 30, and month 42 was the final deliverables. So at this stage, at every stage, we organize a workshop with the working group members just to gather all the input included in the documents. And what is important to mention, in work package 3, we have task 3.3. On how we distribute the work, we have a core group there where the participants having more than one person month. And this was the drafting team of the roadmap and the SRIA, really meeting regularly on drafting the documents. But also there were other participants that the rest of the participants of mostly of the whole project that we call participants of the task and also give input and feedback to these documents. And then on top of that, we have the working group one members, the external members mostly. So this was a very extensive iterative project, but just for you to understand that we have different levels of working in these documents. Including this, it has been mentioned before, we have also the participants of task 1.2 dealing with the needs of energy storage from the industry, and also the working group members. They were also giving input to the feedback and the SRIA, mainly on technological and not technological barriers. And also on top of that, other stakeholders, Speedon mentioned like ETIPS, industry groups, research alliance, other interfaces with other roadmaps, EU officials. So we have a very, very large, let's say, environment giving input on that they had access at all the stages of these documents. And I will be very short. I just wanted to show you at the very beginning, during the first year, we were dealing with the scope of this document, defining the table of contents. Which structures do we have? Should we have? Which kind of chapters? What we want to address in this roadmap is what's meaning with hybridization. So should we include key performance indicators? Which kind of topics we want to address in this roadmap? And this took us 1 year. So you can see here, define the structure, the process, everything, draft the first table of contents, then we send it to the participant of 3.3, and then later we send it to the work, we organize a workshop in order to give this information to the members and to gather the input. And also they had the opportunity to contribute actively to these documents. This is we wanted to do, open it to everybody that wanted to contribute. And this was during the first year, and then from the 23 until 25, that was the final deliverable was in June 2025 this year. So it was a very similar process. So we started drafting the documents along the scope and the table of content that was defined before. And at the very first stage, we organized, or Maria organized, a working group workshop just to define and describe the barriers and giving input into the corresponding chapters as well as task 1.2 members. Then we draft the first, second, third, different versions of the roadmap and SRIA. And also this was drafted by the core group. Then this was sent to the participants. So we have different layers of participation. And then also we organize different workshops with the working group members at the very late stage of this, but they also had the opportunity to give input and to say if they agree or not agree with the suggestion that we were making here. And this is just to give you a short overview how we deal with this roadmap and SRIA, how this process was developed, and also other external input. And just thank you to all the working group members that have contributed here. I think all of them were active on all the feedback was very useful just for us to understand if we are going in the right direction. So thank you very much to all of them. This was on voluntary basis, and therefore we acknowledge them very much. So this is all, but if you have any questions, so I just wanted to give you an insight how this process happened. So if you have any question, please let me know. Nothing will happen. If you have seen the result, by the way, all these printout copies are to take away. So if you want, you can take it, yeah? Because it was maybe not clear, but everyone can take.
Especially because Fatima doesn't want to bring them back to her office. Okay. Get a copy. It's not too heavy. The book you can download.
Yeah.
You forgot to mention that the book was a critical step there.
Yeah.
Because we were having problems in, you have to attract scientists and engineers to give them a reason. So coming up with the book idea was very attractive for them. I mean, Nature Springer book is anyway well considered. And at that time, we already got, I mentioned before, in the previous book, more than 100,000 downloads. So the people was very much interested to contribute, and then also the roadmap and the SRIA could proceed.
Yeah.
Okay. Still no questions? No. People really want to do it. Thank you. Next is Yannick. You mix the two together. No, they are separate. Okay, working group.
Well, let's see. It's easier. Yeah. So as said before, the working group 2 presentation will also incorporate something about the task 3.5 because they're very much interlinked. And also, I will definitely not use my 20 minutes. Okay. So defining call topics. So why are those two so interlinked? Well, basically the procedure of defining call topic is the task 3.5, also taking advantage from the work group. So taking the feedback from the working group 3 in. Go here for the working group 3 shortly. And the main tool, as I said, the implementing body of all this is the working group 2. So the working group 2 was responsible for defining the relevant call topics for all the stakeholders in the StoRIES ecosystem. And we did this by meeting 1 or 2 times each cycle when we had to define a new call topic. And yeah. So how did we do this? Does it work? Yeah. Well, online meetings. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Also some online cooperation tools. For example, we experimented a little bit with a concept board. I don't know if you noticed, this was quite nice. Some sticky notes where you can paste your thoughts and some search. It's a nice tool to collaborate where you can have multiple people sharing their thoughts at the same time. So this is quite nice thing. And of course some kind of shared document, be it some Google Doc or whatever. There are multiple just teams, there are multiple versions of that how you can do this. So that multiple people can edit the same document. Yeah, sure. Okay, so also a list of lots of working group 2 members. The main takeaway here is, there were experts from lots of different fields. So chemical, electrochemical, energy storage, as well as thermal, name it, SNES, whatever you like. Also hydrogen, for example, with lots of experts in there. And which kind of core topics did the working group 2 come up with? Because now if you see this, you might see, okay, it's the same core topic all over again and again and again. Yes, but no. Well, from the core topic, yes, it is kind of the same core topic again, but so in order to maximize applications, we figured out the core topic is actually, well, so before I said in the first application, first call, we only had 4 applications and we managed to get this up to 2-digit numbers in the last. So actually, and we identified also from the feedback that we got that people had a problem with this hybrid. So what does this mean? Are we eligible with, is what we are doing, is it really hybrid? So therefore, first of all, there was the explanation added, what do we mean by hybrid? And then it was maybe the main thing we came up with examples. So a whole bunch of examples, what is eligible. And I think, at least what I heard, this was quite helpful for lots of applicants that said, okay, what I'm doing is actually very similar to this example or something like this. And this got people to try to apply and put the applications up. So this is maybe the main outcome of working group 2. I would say that that there is less variation in the actual core topic, but rather in the subtext, as I framed it. So subtext, all the explanations that we added to the core topic. Okay, and for the last call, the last call was a different topic, but it was Olga explained how this went with budgetary reasons and to boost the virtual access. So this stands a little bit extra. Okay, so the broad topic, so conclusions, the broad topic was, I think, very important to attract the maximum of applicants for all the transnational accesses. And it was very important to explain those things like hybrid, to add those examples. And this way we managed to increase the applications from 4 in the first one up to 14 in the fourth one. This is all I wanted to say for working group 2.
Good.
Was that fast?
No, I don't think so.
Great job. Questions? I have to admit that actually your colleague Volker gave us a good suggestion since the beginning, since the first meeting. He told me stay any brood with it. Don't narrow the subject too much, otherwise you would not get applicants.
Yeah, that's right.
And this was
Was our confusion too.
we got to the same point. I see no questions. And maybe is Sylvia online? Sylvia, are you online?
Yes, I am.
Great. So can we also see her in some way?
Change the slide.
Okay. Hold on, Sylvia. We just Anna, we changed the slides for you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So, hello to everybody. First of all, I am Silvia Leonardi, and I'm in charge of the working group 3 about the analysis of the transnational access. So we can move to the other slide. Okay, so I would like today just to give you some hint about the task and goals of the working group 3, how his involvement is connected in the overview of the project structure, and give you also some current status and results about the topic that we analyzed so far. So let's start with the other slide.
Next slide.
Okay, so about the goals and the working group 3, the main objective of the working group is to analyze and maximize the outcome of the StoRIES TNA project. That means that once the proposals are approved and actions undertaken for the reporting, the working group 3 oversees the transnational axis activity based from the submission to the reporting and the feedbacks that we are receiving from the users and the research infrastructure on the overall analysis of the transnational activities. Okay, let's move to the other one. Okay, in particular, in the structure of the project, this has been already well explained by Miriam previously and the other participant, but just to enlighten the task and the main role of the working group 3, I just want to remember that with the transnational access and virtual accesses, the activities industrial and academic researchers are targeted and provided when for the best environment to conduct research and validate and test and further improve their research results. In particular, whereas the working package 1 and working package 3 that are most regarding technical issues, as well as working package 4, which is more focused on socioeconomic aspects, will determine the topic of the transnational access calls, and working package 2 will be preparing and launching the calls for the axis, the review and the selections of the projects. The review and the selections of the user projects proposal is done by a selection panel that is composed of from external and internal reviewers. The selection panel will ensure that the goals of the objectivity, transparency, impartiality, and quality are met. This is very important. And the review process for each call is documented, and the outcome is communicated to the applicant. Once the application is approved, this is really the role of the working group 3 to analyze the reports that are coming out from the outcome of this research. In particular, if we want to figure it out, let's move to another slide. The working group 3 is basically a bridge from the two loop that is main between the call execution that involve working group 5 to in the topic definition and call launch, and the topic definition where WB3 and WP1 are involved, which basically are bridging the evolution, the analysis of documentation until the feedback loop from the previous call. Just to give you an idea more precise is about the detailed task of the working group 3. Let's move to the other one. More in detail, the tasks are the pre-screening of the application before the peer review process by the selection panel, the evaluation, the analysis, and the dissemination of the project documentation within the external layer and beyond, And one of the tasks is also to provide information resulting from the user project analysis. That means eventually gaps, technical barriers, hybrid technologies assessment, needs that are going then to the working group 1 and working group 4. And finally, is to gather the feedback from the previous call for the preparation of the following calls. If we go to the next slide, we can analyze just 2 examples to give you an idea how is this project made from the beginning and till the final outcome. So here I reported an example, for example, for an evaluation about this project. The acronym is the CBAT project. That means energy storage in seawater batteries. The focus of the project is to development a low-cost, high-performance catalyst for seawater batteries that promote oxygen and chlorine evolution reaction during charge and oxygen reduction reaction during the discharge on the cathode side in seawater. The user in this case was a user from La Sapienza, the University of Rome. And the research infrastructure available was the Helmholtz Institute in Ulm. From the report that we receive about the research infrastructure and the applicant of the user, the main information provided are from the user, of course, general information, but close to this, also the description of the object of the project, the activity performed, the scientific result, and main achievement that are expected, and difficulties during, for example, the TNA-related work, the intended publication and data management, and the feedback. The main information required and provided from the research infrastructure, in addition to the general information, of course, but was also a feedback about the work performed, difficulties or problems encountered during the working period, and a feedback about the evolution of the work. All this information after the evaluation give an outcome that are so analyzed not only from the point of view, of course, of the the technical part and also the organizational part of the activity, but also from the scientific point of view in terms of results and achievement, based particularly on innovation and impact for the hybrid energy storage, the quality of the partnership and potential for further collaboration, and potential also for new calls and new approaches. In this case, for example, we realized that the seawater proposed batteries are a very innovative concept, and finding catalysts without noble metals such as platinum is a prerequisite for enabling their use at large scale. There is a potential to make a major impact on this field of research, for example, that is explored not from many groups. The visit at Helmholtz Institute allowed the experiments that revealed good electrocatalytic properties of the catalyst based on transition metal oxide. And in the end, also the seawater batteries have a potential for seasonal storage and at different time scale calls on these topics that are expecting also for the future. Another example I can give you in the next slide regards the ICMOX project that is referred to development and hybrid carbon metal oxide supercapacitor. The main goal of the project deals with the development of hybrid supercapacitor that combines the high power of double layer supercapacitor with higher energy density pseudocapacitor. In particular, in this case, the user was the Consejo Superior de Investigaciones Científicas at the Tecnología del Carbonio, And the research infrastructure is the Institute of Emerging Technologies at the Hellenic Mediterranean University. Also, in this case, the user and the report both reported the required information about the general information, but also description of the activity of the project and about eventual issues or criticalities about the project and intended publication of the results obtained. Both of these reports are evaluated, and the results and the achievement that we evaluated in this case was that the material synthesizes has been characterized by different electrochemical technique and by SEM. So there was a positive outcome from the point of view of the activity expected in this case. And also these kind of analysis show interesting results, in particular the SEM images of the V2O5 electrodeposit on the Torre paper seem to be particularly strong bonds between the metal oxide and the carbon fibers after the treatment, which is an additional result that was also not really expected in the proposed. And in particular, what was very fruitful in the collaboration that the project results also permitted to plan a continue between the research infrastructure and the user with a future collaboration, signing a cooperation agreement between the two institutions. So for if you go to the next slide, just to summarize a bit the results that we obtained so far, we already analyzed 4 TNA calls outputs, in particular 2 from TNA1, 8 from TNA2, 8 result from TNA3, and 2 result from TNA4. And now are coming also the result for TNA5. So in total, we had 37 reports, both from research infrastructure and for users, 17 from the research infrastructure and 20 from the user and the research infrastructure. 27 are already evaluated and 10 of them are under evaluation now. Just to give you a statistical hint about the topics of this course, we cover many fields, going from hybrid and sustainable electrochemical storage system, thermal storage system, solar-driven system, smart grid, control strategies and management, and multi-energy storage system, and artificial intelligence. To conclude with the reduction and production cost of energy system, LCA analysis. Just to conclude, so I can say that the reports that are missing now, that are coming also now, are already assigned to experts for evaluation. The data that are obtained are also used in book preparation, StoRIES and VME database. And I have also to highlight that some relevant results are already published and submitted. In particular, in the next slide, I reported and listed some of them. If you go to the next slide, we have an overview of the publication that has been already accepted, and some are also submitted. So to conclude, I would like, if you go to the next slide, to thank, of course, all the experts and members of Working Group 3 that helped in the evaluation and supported the work of this working group in their activity. Thank you very much to you also.
Any questions? Thank you, Silvia. Sorry, I was unable to switch on the microphone. Are there questions from the audience? No questions? Okay, Silvia, you have been very clear. Thanks a lot again.
Thanks to you.
We see each other on Friday, right? Well, yeah. We move to the working group 4.
So I will present working group 4, which is about the identification of the need of energy storage actors. And here are the main members of this working group. So we have different experts all across Europe. Some of them are part of the StoRIES project, or also some of them are part of EASE, are members of EASE. And we have different experts and senior researchers and scientists in different aspects of energy storage. So yeah, I also like to thank all of them for their contributions and the feedback that they were able to give to the first report that we present on energy storage needs. But also, as Miriam mentioned, they were also an important part of the review of task 3.3 in the SIA and the roadmap. So these were the activities that were carried out within this. And the first one consisted in the identification of different hybrid energy storage projects in Europe, because we wanted to analyze the main picture and then be able to provide some insights on what were the main needs that this kind of projects needed. And as you can imagine, this was not an easy task, finding large-scale hybrid energy storage projects in Europe, but we were able to find 2. So the first one was on combining supercapacitors, flywheels, and liquid air energy storage in the UK. And the second one was in Ireland, and it was combining large-scale battery energy storage systems, synchronous condensers, and flywheels. And then we decided to dig deeper, for example, in this case, in the Irish market, because it's a bit more advanced on the kind of services that these kind of energy storage assets can provide. But first of all, we analyzed the hybrid energy storage applications, and for this, we referred to one of the publications from EASE, just considering the different services that they could provide. And then based on this, we also, as I said before, we analyzed the EirGrid's CS3 program from Ireland, that is now evolving. Next year, we'll be evolving into another completely different program. But we were able to identify for different energy storage assets the different services that they could provide, that they would be able to obtain revenues from this. We did not go all the way as to calculating the revenues that they would obtain, but we only were able to identify at least the type of services and maybe how different projects could combine these different storage technologies to actually make a business case out of this. And this resulted in a publication, in a paper. This wasn't part of a deliverable, but we have the report, and we were also able to identify the main barriers in different aspects. So, for example, in technical aspects, we know that at least the management system would be more complex when we combine 2 different types of technologies. But also there are some financial risks in trying to implement this because of the revenues that the different energy storage assets can obtain. For example, there's the case of the double taxation, and I know in some countries this is already taken care of, but the double taxation when you charge and discharge this kind of energy storage devices. And of course, as we know, and we have been discussing throughout the whole project and the meeting, the lack of harmonization in the regulatory standards for this kind of hybrid energy storage devices and when they are integrated to the grid. So this is one of the main results that we were able to produce in this working report with the help of the experts. And then the other one, I think I don't have a lot to add. I believe Miriam and also Spiridon as part of the task 1.2 already presented, but working group 4 members were already in charge, also in charge of providing feedback to the SIA and the roadmap in task 3. I believe that would be it. Yeah.
Thank you, Maria. There is always a question maybe coming. Olga is very silent. You have a question?
Yes, anyway.
Thank you, Maria, for this. So actually, as you mentioned, this free analysis, I was wondering whether the flexibility needs assessment, like the topic, I know that these have been falling a lot. There are a lot of papers actually, but basically, do you think that something like this metrics that would be also suitable for what's coming as this notorious flexibility needs assessment? I mean, each and every country throughout the EU will have to do it by sometime next year. As this is what's written in the electricity market regulation, but just sharing that actually for me, this is something that is very useful for this part, specifically the criteria for the flexibility provided that would be that would help address the flexibility needs and also just raising hands if there is a way to structure it and to move forward in this direction.
Yeah, I mean, we all know I'm complaining about the lack of harmonization across the countries, and I think UK, Ireland, and maybe Germany are at the forefront of like this kind of flexibility services, but also the energy markets. And I know, as always in the European Union, there is like this idea of everyone tackling this, but it will be a slow process before each country come up with their own regulations, their own frameworks, and tackle flexibility. But I truly think that in the end, I mean, that's something that will have to be done across all countries if we really want to make the energy transition successful.
If I can make a comment.
Yeah.
Very short comment. I think we need 2 or 3 blackouts. Then all the countries will agree very quickly on how to go further. Because Spain only was not enough. But this is most likely what's going to happen because, I mean, the renewables are growing everywhere, in every country. And the base load will not be enough very soon to cover without storage. Other points? Yes. What do you mean with these 3 points? No.
Thanks. So I just wanted to ask if there is a way that you can also capitalize on lessons learned from other jurisdictions. I mean, outside Europe. I think we invited people to participate in the workshop here. We have creating roadmaps for a lot of different jurisdictions in Europe. The RFQs is done in many jurisdictions for energy storage. I think there is a lot of help there. Success of different sizes and different applications. So I just wanted to see, is this something you look at or is it something that's missing or you just didn't look at it? Because your focus was more on the actors within it.
Yes, exactly. So unfortunately, the initial idea was also to include other jurisdictions, like for example, Australia, and just like look at the case as a reference because they have one of the most advanced energy markets for storage. But in the end, we decided just to focus in Europe, and that's why we decided also to take 2 different projects that were constructed and built in Europe. But yeah, I think definitely like looking out at what others have done would be very helpful to actually build something useful here in Europe. But we didn't.
But for example, we have also participants from Australia in the working groups. So working also in energy storage, we had this connection at the very beginning. They have been active participating. They are also very interested to know what's going on in Europe. So for example, that's because you mentioned Australia.
Yes, because Australia is the less connected grid in the world, right? Every city has its own grid. Which, by the way, is more or less the size of a nuclear sea carrier.
I have one ultra stupid question, but actually, what is bulk storage services? Bulk storage, honestly, I have Googled it, I don't know how many times, but it appeared in some searches in Australia, something like that, but bulk storage. Yeah, it is generation support services, bulk storage services.
Okay, bulk storage services. Yeah, to be honest, I'm not sure what they meant here, but I think it's like the bulk storage where you can just stock different kind of services. But to be honest, I'm not sure what is meant in this specific report. No, I would have to do a bit research on that. If someone else knows and would like to answer this.
Most likely, I don't know. Just come to the hydro, I guess.
I mean, I guess if it's needs for the discussion.
That's good. We can do it with us.
That's why I mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, this is a difficult walk with this exercise because we all the time oscillate between intuitive understanding what the energy system needs and the specific terminology that is embedded in the regulations of a specific national grid operator. In Europe, you do have some harmonization, and bulk energy storage is certainly not the official term, right? But that's fine. In this project and on the use cases that we've been discussing, bulk always refers to the larger scale system. So if you think in the scale of an existing coal power, right? Large scale, megawatt, not megawatt, but somewhere between 200 megawatts to maybe 2 gigawatts. That's power. But not the numbers are exactly in line with whoever else is in the audience, but that's when you say bulk, because you refer to the classical energy industry. When you go smaller, talk about this.
The term bulk sounds a little bit strange.
I was thinking on the context of Australia or something.
Exactly.
I think there's a weird thing. Actually,
I think I've heard this one from you once.
I never really scientific definition of percentage of energy. Like regarding about Australia, I never found definition.
That's where the term refers to the quantity. So when you talk about bulk energy system, in the US, the term is used, and maybe also in Australia. I've heard of discussions a number of times. So I think it's not common. It's simply not something we use typically in Europe.
Yes,
Other terms.
I think bulk is going to.
But there's even a conference on bulk energy, bulk power systems, which is always referring to like, okay, we talk about the large scale here. And leave me alone with this facts. And that's yes. And does that clarify?
Let's not forget that a couple of years ago, energy storage was still expressed as a power. Which is a completely wrong concept, because I mean, energy storage is energy, not power. But all the terminology is actually coming from a conventional system, which will be the bulk storage in the amount of oil that you get stored near the fossil fuel powers. Other points. Otherwise, I go to the last line. No, we are free for the day. Yes, thank you, Maria. This is not my last one.
Sorry.
This one?
No, no.
This one. The
Yeah.
but okay, so this is practically the final event of StoRIES. It's not the end of StoRIES, please. Don't forget to send the deliverables. We will have to go through the final reporting and consider that this time KT will not be pushing. Because KT needs to give €500,000 back to the commission, okay? Everything is fun. So the partners have to push for the final reporting this time. I think it has been a super nice journey for me, I hope for everybody. I mean, we really made, we were very successful in all our, I think we achieved all our targets, right? There is nothing that has not been, which we promised that has not been achieved. And actually we did a little bit more, like with some additional goals, but also some student networks. By the way, the students asked, is the network keep going? Then I just tell them that they should look for you. Maybe in Rise Energy, is there a network there? No chance?
But we can move it to joint program energy storage. Miriam.
You see?
This is one.
Okay, then if not, Olga, just chase Medium, okay?
And in some point we can discuss. Yeah.
We also mentioned during the last summer school that most of the activities will be keep it in the joint program.
Let's say the moment the joint program energy storage.
Energy Research Alliance, the joint program on energy storage, where this project came from, the idea. So this is a network of different members, research organizations and universities. And yes, we have also a mobility scheme for the members. It's a light version of TNA, let's say, but rather straightforward. So that is also useful for the members.
The joint program energy storage is something that will keep going. Okay, so we can ensure continuity in this.
We also organized another summer school last two weeks ago, something like this, on thermal energy storage in Slovenia. So some of the activities will continue in a way, but this joint program.
The point is, of course, that not all students, not all of you are in the organizations that participate in the joint program. That's obvious for us. But still we can keep the network and take care of the network. Of course, only the students for the partner institution are able to take part in mobility scheme, for example. But the network will be saved in our group.
So if my university is not part of the network, the ERJP network, I cannot, I be eligible for the mobility scheme.
No, according to the rules that we have right now, unfortunately not, but you will of course be informed about everything that's happening, you know?
You will always ask, your institution to visit.
From which organization?
University of Sofia, faculty of management.
They are in Rise Energy.
Yes, I mean, they are in Rise Energy, they should be also in the joint program energy
Yes.
storage.
The other
Because
was a student.
otherwise, Medium get nervous. Better is not experienced. I'm joking, but yeah, I think at the very end, the joint program energy storage can guarantee this institution before a new proposal or a new project start with this student network. Okay. Actually, everything started from there. Good. Then I think it's time to close the event. Dinner, 7 p.m. Le piccole cipolle in Italian. The small onions. Okay. Rue de la Régence. Vincent, right? Vincent. You have it?
Just, is there anyone here who didn't register for the day?
Everybody.
Just to be sure, in case.
See,
So many people do we have registered?
14.
40.
But we have 4 extra places, so just.
Okay, so you need to more than that we have 30 right. Very good. Thanks a lot for. Sorry? I already mentioned this.
Yeah.
But don't forget, tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. Okay? For the panel number first, you have a question, right? We're packaging one stakeholders, and then the second one. Organized by peace, right? See you later at the rest.